What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Bootstrap podcast. My name is Joshua. This is beautiful Jyoti next to me.
Hi guys.
I've known her for about 9 months, but it feels like I've known her for decades. Like we've gone through so much already. And Jyoti is pursuing nursing. She loves helping people, she loves people. And another thing that she loves as well is self improvement. She's actually into journaling, mental health, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Jyoti, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Jyoti Nath and I'm from India. My parents are from Bangladesh. My two sisters were born here. So I had two sisters and a big brother. We all get along really well. I speak like about 4 languages. I speak Bangla, Hindi, and English, and a little bit of Spanish. I learned Spanish from here, by the way, and I learned Hindi from watching movies, but I'm not really fluent at it. And Bangla, that's my native language. That's what I speak at home with my parents. And I work as a technician, pharmacy technician, and I'm just excited to be here.
Pharmacy technician. So what do you do? What's a day in the life of a pharmacist?
So as soon as I get in, usually I prefer to ask my pharmacist what he would want me to do, starting from do you want me to make the calls? Do you want me to fill the medications? Do you want me to type the medications? I don't do resolution as much, but I would do the resolution as I would ask if he wants me to do the resolution, which means that if you have any problems with the insurance, or like the patient can't take the medication because a prior authorization is required, we have to handle that. So I just ask him what does he want me to do, or if there's patients, because our pharmacy is really busy. If there's patients, I just go straight to helping a patient or taking phone calls. So yeah, I just get pretty hectic because it is a really busy pharmacy, but I enjoy it.
Gotcha. So speaking of self improvement as well, like what got you into self improvement? Because I know you're into like journaling. You told me you just journaled last night. Like we were just talking for like an hour straight before the podcast. Like me and Jyoti talk so much. It's like we couldn't even start the podcast. We just kept it going. We kept it going. But I love that. So you spoke about before the podcast that your family is also into like meditation.
Yeah.
And improving their lives as well. Where does that come from?
It comes from my culture, Hinduism. I'm Hindu. My family is Hindu. So meditation, self-improvement originates from India. I was introduced to it at a young age because I'd see my mom. We have a white sofa and we have a black sofa. But now we have a black sofa. But in that same little sofa, she sits by the door, and I see her like with the what do you call this? Like a stance. Because
got it.
Yeah,
like
because
when you're meditating, you're like
yeah,
this right here. Okay.
Yeah, so I would see my mom do that at a very young age, and she would like whisper, like she would say something, but with no voice at all. Like she's saying it to herself, right? So I would do that. I would copy her, but I didn't know what that was. I didn't comprehend what that was.
Gotcha. You wanted to be like your mom, though.
Yeah, because
she was setting the example for you.
Yeah, like because my mom, she would push us to do the puja because sometimes when we go through our menstrual cycle, we cannot come towards near God. So we would take over for our mom like one week out of the month. Yeah, or maybe when she can't do it. So we would like do the puja to the god like twice a day. We had to go outside, put water on the entrance of the door so God can come in. So as I grew older, maybe around high school, I'd say, is when I really found out what meditation was. Like,
gotcha.
To be honest, I didn't process what my mom did until now. Like, as I'm speaking about it, I'm like, yeah my mom did meditate.
Literally.
So,
that's so cool because like I got into meditation. I got into meditation and I never really got into like religion or anything. But one thing I realized, or that I've always seen like growing up, whenever I saw like Disney channels or something, or whenever I saw it on the TV, it would be like monks, like just people in Asia just like with their heads shaved and like orange suits doing like that's like the stereotypical thing that you think. But I remember just thinking to myself, like, why do these people do that? Like, that's so weird. Like, why don't you just go watch TV? Why don't you go talk with friends? And honestly, growing up, like, as I got into high school, I got into, like, more, or at least I started opening my mind. I started seeing like, okay, like I don't know what got me into it. I think I got into like a YouTube video, and it started talking about meditating. Or actually, I do remember. I started reading a book, and I was actually going through mental health. I was going through a mental health crisis, and like my social skills were out of whack. Like I didn't talk to anyone, and this was actually after I graduated high school because I didn't go to college, right? So what I did was I read this book. I actually have it right here. It's called, where is it? It's called The Power of Now. I have it somewhere around here, but it's called The Power of Now. If anyone is ready, comment down below. But The Power of Now, it talks about being in the present, and that's one thing that I didn't learn how to do, because I actually read that book because a therapist recommended it to me. And it talks about like meditation, basically being in the present. And then I didn't really like think about like Hinduism or anything, but I just started doing it. I did it, and it's not something that's part of my culture either. One thing that is like praying, and what it's kind of similar, like because Christians, my family is like Christian, and basically they would teach me how to pray, but I felt as if I kind of did it out of force. Like it wasn't like, oh, like pay attention to your thoughts. Like I think that's for me like meditation, like clearing your head out and just making sure you have a clear head, because in today's world, like you have the Instagram, the Snapchat, the Twitter, you have YouTube, you have music playing in the background, you have so many things, like, or guys, like you have the freaking like the girls and everything.
All kinds of distractions.
All kinds of distractions, right? And then it's like you can never really focus on one thing. And I actually made a YouTube video about that, like about focus. And it's something that it's not really talked about today, and it's actually something that it's like a commodity. It's a rare commodity. Like something that's not really talked about, something that not a lot of people have, and that's important. Like you need to cut off the Instagram, you need to cut off the YouTube, the music. Sometimes I need to cut off music because sometimes it just distracts me, and I just need to like I need to like focus. I need to focus, and I think that's a lot of a commodity that people don't have today. And honestly, like I never really thought that was connected, at least to your culture. So I think that's super dope.
I mean, it's very common, to be honest. It's very common that not a lot of people know where spirituality, I'd say, originates from. I was actually during high school, when I was at my lowest point and I was getting into self-improvement, I didn't start meditating and journaling until, I was actually watching TikToks, because all my TikTok was like about spirituality and self-improvement. Literally, I'm telling you.
Why do you think that?
Why? What do you mean?
Because the thing is, I know TikTok and all these different platforms, they have like an algorithm that like, okay, when you like a video, it's like extremely similar. The other videos will pop up as like a similar video to what you like or what you saw or whatever. And so that probably means that you were already watching like self-improvement, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Searching up like how to better your life, or like where you like how to get over a breakup or something like that.
Yeah, and usually when I would see these videos, the only videos I like was the self-improvement, or like I like go through the person's profile and find out more stuff actually. So
so what made you not what made you, but what did you search up that you wanted to fix in your life?
Meditation, working out specifically. I fell in love with cardio at that point. All I did was cardio, and intermittent fasting. So you can imagine me. I was like a stick at that time. Like I was doing intermittent fasting every single day. And I think fasting is really good. Like that's also a big part of my culture. Because 48 hours of fasting is all you really need. 24 hours is really good too. But I see a huge difference in my body, in my mood actually. But yeah, you're just detoxing all the negative stuff from your body basically.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
and you also, to bounce off of what you said, and like my bad for cutting off, but like to bounce off of what you said, like hold on, let me change this like movement right here. But to bounce off of what you said, like I understand that for sure, because I used to eat 3 times a day, and now I only eat 2 times. But like every time I realized like I ate in the morning, first off, it took energy to like wake up and be like, damn, I gotta eat, because I wasn't even hungry. Like I just ate because like I wanted calories, I wanted to like gain weight. And then whenever I ate after, I'd feel like this food coma. I was always like, oh my god, like I do not want to fucking get out of like, I do not want to go on my computer and start doing work. Like I just want to walk. I want to go do something, or if anything, I want to go to sleep. And imagine like, I would eat breakfast and then go to do my work, and I just feel so lethargic. I would not want to do anything. But when I started fasting, I think I looked it up on YouTube. Like, why am I not focused? Like, why do I feel tired after I eat? And it was like, try fasting. And then I fasted in the morning. All I did was just drink water and coffee. I was the most focused person in my life. I was like, dude, this is the best thing ever. Like, I love it. And that's only in the morning. Like, I can't even imagine, like, if I fast for a day, I'll feel so good. I'll feel so good. Obviously, I'll be like, damn, I need to eat that, like, juicy steak. But I understand, like, there's a lot of merit to that, for sure.
Yeah, you know when you said, like, oh, you have to eat this juicy steak? In my culture, I'm like that, too. When there's a day that we have to fast, it's called Ekadoshi. It's very common. You have that at least once a month, I think, because it's very common. I always hear my mom say, and I think today is Ekadoshi.
I think I saw on the Google Calendar, like, today's, like, something about, like, it was, like, an Asian event. Like,
It started with the E?
I'm not really sure, but I think, like, let's see right here. If I pull it up. Google Calendar coming in clutch. Like, shout out to anyone who uses Google Calendar.
Paradox.
Dude, that's my old account.
It's a cool name. What was that? Your gaming name?
That was my gaming name. Back when I used to play video games all the time. I actually used to play video games. Dude, I would wake up in the summer and just straight up just play from when I woke up to like when my dad came home to
Typical
work from
guy.
work. Yes.
My brother would do the same.
Your dad was the same?
No, my brother. My mom
your
would
brother,
be like.
that's what I meant to say. Yeah.
My mom would not like that at all. First day.
I don't know.
No.
All I saw was Asian. That's it.
No,
Asian.
Asian.
I didn't see this Pacific American Heritage Month.
So for Ekadoshi, like my we don't have to do it, but you know, it's good for us to do it. The guys don't do it. You know, the guys don't do it. They don't have to, because you know how guys are. They want their food. They want their meat. They like that's why my mom was like no to guys. So it's very hard for my dad to convince my dad to do it. But usually, like, we don't eat anything. We can drink water, yeah, but we don't eat anything. We just eat fruits after we serve them to the god. And then the day after or at nighttime, my mom like makes vegetables, boiled vegetables. But her vegetables are really good. And then we just eat that, or with a tortilla, but there's no rice, no meat or anything.
Tortilla, like a wheat tortilla?
Yeah, like, because what we do is we make our tortillas.
Yeah, same here. Like, growing up in a Latin household, like, I remember I would make the tortillas and everything. Like, shout out to anyone who's Latin. Like, you know, if you're from Miami, like, you for sure.
Or
Latin.
Asian.
Exactly. But wait, they were wheat or they're flour? Because like Latin, they're just like they don't give 3 F's.
Flour.
Flour?
Yeah.
Because like Nicaragua, like we have like these flour tortillas. Like I remember my aunt would tell me, oh yeah, go like flatten the tortillas out
and
like,
make it round.
Yeah, make it round and then like put it onto the pan. And so like cook it obviously, and like the sears would come out. And I remember just like eating it with something that we made called gallo pinto. Like if you've ever been to fritanga, like anyone who's ever been to fritanga or is like from Nicaragua, you know about gallo pinto. And like we'd eat it with that and then sour cream, which is what they call crema. It was like the best thing ever. And then they'd also put like carne asada in there and everything. Like it was super dope. It was super dope. You also said that, speaking like of family though, I remember you spoke about, I'm not sure if we actually recorded this, but you spoke about having siblings. And I know that you have 2 siblings that you have a beautiful bond with, right? Tell us more about like how you kind of grew up with siblings, because I actually, for the people listening, I actually grew up an only child. So I feel like there's people that are only childs, many people that are only childs, and growing up in this individualistic country, like it does feel lonely. What advice would you give to someone who probably has siblings, but doesn't have a good bond with them?
That's good. You put me on the spot.
But first, I want you to talk about like your experience with them. Like what bond do you have with them, and how did it happen?
I'd say we all have a close bond. Even my brother, even though distant. I think we all have a close bond because me and my brother, I think we were we've seen everything firsthand. We went through everything together firsthand. My sister was a baby.
Pioneers.
Yeah. Because we went through everything together. At terrible moments. My sister was there as well, but she was a baby. But as growing up, we still faced the same situations. So we all just kind of relied on each other. My little sister had it easier. We all protected her. She's like the little baby.
Yeah.
Of the family.
Gotcha.
But we all really relied on each other. I remember, and my friends are watching this. My brown friends, they know what I'm talking about. My grandma. We would call my grandma troublemakers. We all came up with this, man. We all came up with this, and I think I was the one that came up with it. And so whenever she'd pass by or something like that, we'd be like, "Hey, troublemaker is here. Act right," So we'd say that because she is what the name is,
Your grandma?
Yeah, troublemaker. And my brown friends know. Because the Asian community, they like to talk, So they like to talk about each other and know about the situations, not in a bad way, but sometimes it can be toxic.
Yeah. Same Latin, everyone loves to talk.
So we came together at that time, but as we grow older, we have our own lives, so we separated from each other, but we're still very close because if something happens, we come to each other at the end of the day and we solve the issue.
Gotcha.
So what the advice I tell someone who doesn't have a really good bond with their siblings is try. I think you should try, because when your parents aren't here, the only person you're gonna have left are your siblings. I mean, I understand the situation if they're like, if they went down the wrong path and you can't save them, which is very common, I think.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I think you should try to have a bond with them, because I'm very glad with the bond that me and my sisters have, because I thought about it. No one is gonna come to save me at the end of the day but my siblings. Like, seriously, like, if I'm gonna be in need of help, I know that I'm gonna go to them. Like, if I'm down a rabbit hole, my friends aren't even gonna come to save me. Like, my sisters are, my brothers are. So, I think you guys should like
bond somehow.
Yeah, it can be like over a movie or just going out. Like, my brother, we don't talk as much, I don't see him as much. We'll have our own lives, but usually he'd like bring crumble cookies. That's his new obsession. He'd bring crumble cookies and share with us, or sometimes he'd take us out once in a blue moon. Like, the last time we went out was like 11 p.m. at night, and he took us to Sunset Place to get boba tea for us to try. So it can be something little. You don't have to see them or talk to them all the time, but bond in a way where you know that, hey, even if I don't see them in a few years, I know that the bond is still going to be there because they're your ride or die.
Gotcha. Let me take a quick break because I actually need to plug in the computer, and we need it so we can record everything. So it's probably just going to be like 30 seconds.
1,
I have
2,
it right here.
3,
Bro, count.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
You're going a little bit too fast. You're going a little bit too
22,
fast.
23, 24, 25, 26.
Jyoti, you're rushing the fuck out of
27, 28. What? I made you nervous? We made you nervous?
Type shit. All right.
It was past 30 seconds, guys.
That's a Miami saying, type shit. All right, cool. So we were talking about, what were we talking about?
My siblings and the advice that create a bond.
Yes, that's right.
He's a very good example of creating a bond because he actually formed a bond with his dad. So create that bond, even if it's tough.
Thank you. Yeah, it's tough. It gets tough. And one thing I want to say is that growing up as an only child, it is hard. It is hard for sure. But one thing that I would say for sure is that it does create like a hard mentality if you take it like that. Because a lot of people these days, they want to say like, oh yeah, like I'm this way because of this. I'm this way because of that. Like I don't surround myself around people that make excuses. Like if something happens to you in your life, my mentality is like, use that to better yourself. Like use that pain as fuel. Because like not everyone has that. So like you can use that. If anything, use it as a gift, because not a lot of people have gone through what you've gone through. Not a lot of people have. Well, I think yeah, not a lot of people grew up only childs with like a bad relationship with their dad and were like sister, like their sibling. They had siblings, because I actually did have siblings, but I didn't have a bond with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just, I would see them fight with my father actually, and that actually it hurt me a lot. And just being quiet, like just being lonely, like being that awkward kid, like not a lot of people had that experience, right? So if I have that pain to fuel me, like now I have more than you in a way. It's all about like, if I see a glass of water, is it half empty or is it half full? Like that's just the way it is, right? Even though this has no fucking water inside, like is it half empty, is it half full? Like that's the way you look. At least that's the way I look at it. If you have pain, use that as motivation. Because 100%, anyone who's watching this, if you're an only child and you've gotten those lonely nights where you're depressed, like, or you want to talk to someone, you need advice, you want an older brother, you are your older brother in a way, and you have to learn how to help yourself. 100%. And honestly, in the beginning, you might not know how to help yourself. You might look up to role models, and you're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up 100%. But later on down the road, you're gonna be like, wow, like I tried. If I try to I try to be a better version of myself. Like you're probably gonna be your own sibling. You're gonna look down years down the line and be like, yo, like I'm so grateful I did that. Like me and Jyoti right now, we're just talking about like the journal, like journaling. And I was journaling to myself for a while. I didn't realize this until last night. And like literally I have this journal of like all the entries I would make and like how I was feeling. I was like, damn, I feel like I'm in a rut right now, or I feel like I'm this, but you know what? Like just step one foot in front of the other. Or like, yo, like honestly, I told myself I was gonna be great and I don't feel too great today, but just keep trying. And like honestly, that to me is like fuel. That's fuel, because it's like I didn't have that older brother, but I have that other person that still believes in me. Even though I didn't really believe in myself, I knew somehow there's gonna be a future version of me that's gonna be like, keep pushing. Because I look back at my old self and I'm like, yeah, just keep pushing. If I would talk to my old self, I'd just tell him, yo, keep pushing. Like keep failing, keep trying, because eventually the world will be your oyster and like you're gonna take over. So like just take that pain. For anyone, like honestly, I think it's a blessing when you have all this trauma, when you have pain. Like I also think that there's merit to obviously having, you know, the siblings and everything, because that's a blessing as well. That's why I want to have kids and I want them to have a good relationship with their siblings. So like that's just the way at least I would think about it, because I just don't think there's a, like thinking negatively, there's no good outcome out of that.
Yeah, I remember I used to want to be an only child.
No
at
way.
a young age. Yeah.
What?
It's whenever my sisters would get me really mad, or my brother in that case. My brother was so annoying as a child. He would like always like bother the heck out of me. Like I'd be watching TV and I was like obnoxious as well, okay?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he'd come behind me and he'd poke me like that. And I just start screaming and complaining about him. But he was like, you know, he was like annoying in other aspects too. But I wanted to experience it. I was like, damn. I was kind of selfish. I was like, damn.
There's probably jealousy around there, right? There's jealousy and things that...
I was never really jealous. Maybe my brother was jealous. I'd say my brother was jealous of me. Yeah, because I'm the oldest daughter, so I usually got what I wanted. I would ask for things, but not for like expensive things. Don't get me wrong, okay?
Yeah. High maintenance. No. She's not high maintenance.
So I would ask for things, and my sisters would like. That's how my sister started sharing stuff with me or borrowing stuff with me. They really just also counted on me to, hey, you're gonna ask dad for this, you know?
Yeah.
So I got what I wanted. My parents were, my dad at least, was usually easy on me. But my brother, however, no, he didn't receive love the same way I received it. And my sisters, obviously, like, I'm the protector, you know, and they receive love from everyone. So
Your sisters?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I think my brother had it really hard and he was probably jealous. But I think I wanted to be the only child also, because I wouldn't have to share anything. You know, I had there was peace and quiet. I wouldn't have to argue all the time. And I just thought it was like pretty cool. But like I even thought about your situation, so I was like, how did he do it when he was alone? Like,
yeah, it's like
it's lonely. I'm
it's
not
lonely.
gonna lie.
Yeah, it is.
But as I grew up, without even realizing it, I was very shy. I don't know how I became open. I was very shy, or maybe I was just shy with people, with kids, with my culture, like kids in my culture, like the brown kids.
Yeah.
I think I was just shy with them, but I really don't know when I opened up or how. But I was always a shy person, and when we would go to outing like this, or specifically from when I remember at temples, me and my siblings relied on each other. Like, we'd be like, oh my god, I'm so scared, oh my god, I want to talk to this person. But we just always stuck together. So I think that's pretty cool, because you're not lonely
Exactly.
in like crazy situations.
No, 100%. Like, the thing is, like, being alone is one of the worst things you can ever like feel. It's one of the worst feelings ever. And in order to succeed, like, you don't succeed by yourself. Like, you need a pack.
Yeah.
You need a pack, because everything I've succeeded in, although I was like an only child, I always looked to a mentor. I always look, okay, on YouTube, like, how do I do this? How do I do that? Like, I used to buy a lot of courses, and that's why I read a lot of books, because I was like, there's someone that did it already. Let him or her give me their experience, and then let me avoid the mistakes they made, and just follow their advice.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, that helped me drastically. Even through Toastmasters, like, I started opening up through Toastmasters. If anyone who's watching this, I highly recommend Toastmasters to help your social skills, your public speaking skills for sure. It helps drastically. So I was there, and obviously if I would have done it by myself and just started speaking and just been like, oh yeah, sure, I'm gonna get better, and I'm gonna like somehow be a great speaker, like that would have been terrible. So I had a mentor, and I remember I the first time I ever went to a Toastmasters meeting, I was in this place called Sports Grill, and I was just super nervous. Like, my heart starts beating and everything, but I'm like, okay, cool, I'm just a guest. And they started, like, everyone started speaking. Everyone had their prepared speeches. They had their evaluations, and then there's something called table topics. And table topics, I didn't know what it was, but it was impromptu speaking. So basically, they ask you a question. Anyone that is a table topics master will ask you the question. It can be any question related to the theme, right? So I remember this question like if it was yesterday. They had asked me, what was the most important thing you learned yesterday? And I remember I got up there and I was like so excited, but at the same time I was nervous. I was like, oh shit, like, I know what I'm gonna say, this and that. And then I got up and I'm like, oh snap, my heart starts beating. Like, when you're confident, but then you're like also nervous at the same time.
Yeah. Me today.
Exactly. So I just pulled up, and then I just started speaking. And I was reading How to Win Friends and Influence People at the time. So I just told them that I realized that in the world, people are extremely important. That's the best thing I learned. And I kept on, I talked about people will have opportunity keys. Opportunity keys meaning if I know someone that I have built a great relationship with, if they went up in life, they will drag me with them if I am an asset to them. So I realized that, and I realized that you can't be alone. And I started speaking, and I felt so excited. I was nervous, but then after I sat down and I had this like high of, wow, I just did that, and I was so scared. And it was like the best thing ever.
But I feel like that adrenaline rush that you get, like before you get on stage or before you start speaking, I feel like that's what makes it fun. That's what makes you feel accomplished.
100%. Like, back then it was like video games and like instant gratification, but now it's like anything that scares me, like that. I'm trying to chase that feeling I get afterwards, like when I don't want to hit legs and I do it instead. And then I have that feeling of like, wow, I did that. Like, I'm 1% closer to like that version of me. And that feeling is like no other feeling in the world versus like playing video games and then like eating chips and like fucking like
He tells me that all the time after he does like.
I hate, yeah.
I didn't want to do it, but I feel so accomplished.
Exactly. Like me and Jyoti, 100%. We would go to the gym. This one time we were hitting legs, and I was just squatting like some heavy ass weight, and I didn't want to do it. I was like, fuck, I don't want to do it. And like, you can tell by my face, I was just like, I didn't want to say anything. I was just like, fuck, like, I don't want to do it. I end up doing it, and I'm like, wow, like, I felt so good. I felt so good.
And he was hitting heavy too.
Don't try to put my head up right now. I'm trying. But one thing about the gym too is like I've been going heavier. So like back then I would just do like a lot of reps, just a lot of reps, boom, boom, boom reps. But then I was like, dude, I gotta challenge myself. Like I can't just be doing the same thing. So that's another thing about this mentality. Like you're always trying to find a new mountain to climb, always. And honestly, I'll give that credit to some guy named David Goggins. I don't know if you know who that is.
No, who is he?
He's this Navy SEAL who started. He has a long story, but he talks about being hard a lot.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yo, stop, bro. Stop. No. He talks about being hard in the head, like being hard mentally, being hard. He talks about being hard as a man. So he basically he created this book called Can't Hurt Me, and yeah.
I'm so sorry.
He created this book called Can't Hurt Me, and it's like his biography. Yo, bro.
Okay, focus. I'm focused now. Sorry.
Okay. So he created this autobiography, and then from there, yeah.
Josh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
So he created this book, and then he basically made me feel like a pussy, and I was like, yo, I'm like doing nothing with my life. Like I need to do shit. I need to start moving things. I need to start doing things. You get what I'm saying?
Why? Why did he make you feel like that?
Cause the things that he's been through. Cause like I thought I've been through shit. This motherfucker has been through shit, and like I was really listening to his story, and it was actually recommended to me by a friend. And I was like, dude, books, like, fuck that, dude. I don't want to read it. I don't even want to hear a book. Like, I don't want to do anything. Right? And I heard the book, and I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, damn, like, what he's saying is real. And, like, this was when I was starting to get into the gym and everything. I started getting into it. And, yeah, I just started, like, wanting to be better. And he was talking about, like, yo, you got to be real with yourself. Like, don't be all nice. Like, tell yourself the truth. Like, when you look in the mirror every single day, there was this one chapter. He was like, truth hurts. Like, tell yourself the truth. Like, tell yourself the truth no matter what. Like, if you're fat, like, tell yourself you're fat. If you've been telling the lies, like, tell yourself you've been lying. And, like, face that mirror every single day, because a lot of people lie to themselves every single day. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're right. Like, I'd say narcissistic people, they tell themselves lies. That's why they don't change. Yeah,
because, like, if you repeat something to yourself repeatedly, eventually you're going to believe it. Like, that's just how the mind works.
Like, affirmations.
Exactly. Like, if you tell yourself you're dumb, you're going to think you're dumb. If you tell yourself you're smart, asshole, or, like, you're smart, this, whatever, like, you're going to believe it.
Yeah, I used to, like, whenever I mess something up as a joke, I wouldn't mean it seriously, but out of instinct, I'd be like, I can't believe that, like, I'm so dumb, like, I did that, you know? So, after I found out about that, like, don't say that because that means you are, you know? I just stopped saying that. And I feel like,
gotcha. Words are spells. I read that from a quote from Bruce Lee. He was like, words are spells. And then after that, I was thinking to myself, wait, hold on. All those times, like, I've told myself certain things, like, after a while of saying the same thing over and over again, like, oh, yeah, I'm awkward. Like, I don't like, I'm introverted. Like, eventually I'm going to believe it. Like, whatever I say about myself, it's going to happen. Like, if I tell myself, with the right action, of course, because your brain needs evidence that it's true. So, like, obviously, okay, no one is dumb, or maybe in some cases I might do something dumb, but then every time I do something dumb, I tell myself I'm dumb, there's, like, evidence towards that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And if I tell myself I'm smart, every time something good happens, there's going to be evidence towards that. But if it's like, what I'm trying to go with this is like, okay, I think I'm smart because I posted something on Instagram and I feel I got like 10 likes on it. And like, oh yeah, I'm smart because I posted this and like whatever. And like, oh, I'm smart because I was able to I was able to eat 10 chips in 10 minutes or whatever, like 10 bags of chips in 1 minute. Like that's like the stupidest thing, or not this. Like that's like the dumbest thing you can be proud of. But like someone can be proud of that, right? So like it's like saying it and then obviously having like some sort of action behind that belief. And like sometimes that action can be different with others. I'm not sure if you get what I'm saying.
No, I understand. Cause that was a huge part of my life affirmations. Back during COVID hit. COVID is when I was like, on the grind. That's when I was like.
That was when everyone. Actually, I hope everyone was on the grind.
No, because I heard some people, like narcissistic people, they were like, they didn't like it. Like they just wanted to be out there to manipulate people.
Shit, I don't know. I was just like focused. I remember COVID was like a weird time, but it was like a good time because that's when like everything started. Like, is that when you started your self-improvement journey?
Yeah, when COVID hit, it was different for everyone. Good way and a bad way. Rich people, poor people, influence.
Yeah, 100%.
Affected everyone. Good way or bad way. For me, it was pretty good, because I was like on track and I was actually away from everyone. Like it was just me, my family, and work. Like I was just focused on myself, and I didn't really have friends at that time. Like I had friends, but I talked to them like through Instagram or messages, like keep an update with them. But I didn't really like go out or like like I would never go out and like hang out with people unless it was like my neighbors or my sisters. So it was just like on me.
Yeah, you were just doing in all the work. I feel
yeah.
You. I feel you. There was a lot of quiet time. And speaking of quiet time, how important do you think having quiet time with yourself is for a person? Because in today's world, it feels as if like not a lot of people have quiet time. Like you're in your car, you listen to music. You get home, like you have to attend to whoever, like your wife or your girlfriend or your dad. You gotta cook. You have to always have these things. Like everyone has to always have a task in front of them. In today's world, I feel like, and I never really see or hear people talk about having quiet time, because like you need to have quiet time in order to have quiet time, and like it's not like you post it on social media. Oh yeah, I'm having quiet time. So, how important do you think having quiet time?
I think it's very important because once I noted, because okay, I can be out like at my work or my dad's job or like hanging out with friends, but then I feel very brain dead. I feel like my social battery is out. I feel like my head is all over the place. Like
Gotcha.
Like I feel it. So quiet time is very important to me because I'm already a quiet person. Believe it or not. Everyone we talk about this at work. I'm a quiet person. So when I'm at home, like I value my alone time, like my quiet time. Like I have to be alone. Can't be with multiple people all the time because it makes me feel crazy. And if I feel crazy, I feel bad about myself.
Yeah.
So I think you need to be alone. You need to be alone with your thoughts at least. Cause I like to think a lot. Because when I think a lot, I go really deep, and I'm an overthinker already. So, yeah, I think quiet time is really important. What do you think?
I think it's extremely important because it's one thing that I did not do like at all. When I first got into self-improvement, I didn't really think about quiet time. Like I was always like listening to a podcast of self-improvement. I was always like reading a book about self-improvement. I was always like doing something like, I mean, journaling is quiet time. But I was always like doing something like working or like reading a book or like I started this business, so I was like working on the business and everything. And then I never really got into my car and like just listened to my thoughts. Or I never really ate. I would eat and always watch YouTube videos. Always. There was never a time I ate and I wouldn't watch a video. And if I didn't, I felt weird. I was like on crack. You know what I'm saying? So every time, yeah, I was like, bro, I need something. Like I can't just listen to my thoughts. Like I'm gonna eat. Like it's gonna be quiet. I need a video. I need something. And that affected me a lot. I realized like I would just be skewed by different things every single day. Like I started realizing this when I started meditating actually. Because when you meditate, you can listen and hear your thoughts. Like it would just happen automatically. Like I'd just be in my car and I'll listen to music. And then I'll realize I did this because I listened to a certain lyric, or I changed my thought all because of a lyric talked about like a girl. Because I was going through a breakup, I remember. And like I would listen to music and I was just working out and I was just thinking about my workout. And then all of a sudden like the guy, like the rapper would talk about girls. And then all of a sudden like I'd just be thinking about my ex and I'm like, like, dude, like, this happened all because I was listening to music. Like, I realized, like, dude, I'm getting shifted into different areas and different thoughts all because I'm never quiet. Like, I don't control my own thoughts. Like, I let external things control my thoughts. So I was like, dude, like, I don't know. I didn't really look this up on YouTube. I was like, cut things off. Like, just stay quiet. And there was this one trip in Nicaragua when I went, actually, with my family. Like, my phone didn't work. It's not that it didn't work. It was like there was no battery, and I didn't have a charger. So what happened was that I had so much time to think. So much time to think. And I would meditate a lot. And I remember just being inside the house, or even when we would go out, there was a point in time where there was not really anything to do, but the adults would just talk, and I would just be there by myself. And I remember there was this one time we were in this place called Granada, and there's water, there's a lot of water there, and it's like this tourist place in Nicaragua, and there's a lot of water. We were on a boat, and there's mountains, and the mountains are so big where like, you can see that there's like a big shadow. There's like a shadow, and it's like on the water. It's like this huge mountain, and it's like it's covering the whole water, and like it's covering the sun. And like when you go under that shade, it feels good, but it's like this huge shade that it gives off. And it was super hot that day, but I remember just going out, just looking at the water, not talking to anyone, just like looking. And people were worried about me. Like, they would just be like tapping me like, yo, are you okay? And I'm just like, no, like, I'm completely fine. Like, I just give them a smile. I'm like, I'm completely fine. And I gain like happiness off of just reflecting off of my own thoughts and the decisions I've made in life. Because I've realized, like, dude, hold on, I went wrong here. How could I have done this better? Like, how could I have made this financial decision better? How could I have done this better? How could I have done this better? And then I started thinking about the things I did do good. I was like, I'm so glad I did that, because this happened because of that. So it's like a lot of self-reflection and a lot of things that you can improve just by listening to your own thoughts. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think it's something that not a lot of people talk about today, because they're always like stimulated all the time.
Yeah, I don't think many people talk about it, but thankfully I surrounded myself with good people. I mean, I have a friend, Zaira. I think I talk about her a lot with you. I don't know, you've heard that name before, right?
Syra, Samia, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the podcast. We actually had a technical difficulty, but we're coming back to fix it right now. So basically, we actually just started talking about karma. Like, we started talking about like giving energy, and the energy that you put out to the world is what you give back. And honestly, there's no other saying that I'd agree more with than that. I actually have like a story with that, because I remember there was this one time, like, I don't know exactly what it was. It might come to me as I'm saying it, but I had told this story to one of my friends, and she had told me that that's God right there. And basically what I had done was, oh my gosh, I actually forgot it, like right at the tip. It's like at the tip of my tongue. But what I know happened was that I gave someone something. Like, I think I donated something to someone. I had given, I think I had ordered someone a book. And then I had also like bought them a meal. Yes, I bought them a meal. Like, we went to IHOP. His name is Mello. Shout out to Mello if he's watching this. And honestly, I normally don't give things like that. And I was like, dude, like, just start giving, bro. Just start giving. I was just like, yo, just give. Because I was like reading about like giving and like how important giving is. It's just extremely important, whether that's like, it doesn't have to be only like monetary, but just give like time, give energy, give anything you can, basically, right? And I was just giving. I was giving monetarily most, because I think that was like the thing I didn't want to give, so I was giving monetarily. And I remember just giving people things like, yo, read this book right here. Or like, I'd give people anything, right? I'd bring people, what would I bring? I'd bring like pizzas to the houses. Like, whenever they invited me, yo, I'm gonna bring pizza, is that fine? Obviously I wouldn't say that's fine, because like they wanted pizza. But like, yo, I'm gonna bring pizza, like, you're gonna eat. I'd be like that. And I normally didn't do that. And I remember there was this one time I was waiting tables, and basically there was this lady, that walked in and she asked for me. This was after like a couple days of me giving, and I was actually conscious of me giving. I was like, I'm so glad I did that. And she asked for me. She said, "Where's Josh?" And I was like, "Oh, like I'm right over here. Table for two?" And she was like, No. I actually just drove past, and literally I didn't remember until I saw Red Lobster. But I remember I didn't tip you, and I needed to tip you because I just felt so wrong for not tipping you. And she slips me like, I think it was like anywhere from $30 to $40. And I remember just thinking like, that never happens. Like this lady literally stopped her track. She was on her way to work, she told me. And she literally stopped at Red Lobster because she remembered that she forgot to tip me accidentally. And then she just gave me the money. Like it was like anywhere from 30 to 40, I think. But I was like, wow, like that's so cool. Like the energy that you give, it'll for sure come back to you.
And that's really nice because no one would do that nowadays.
No one does that. Like no one will stop.
Nice.
Like I understand like giving a gift, but like literally this person stopped whatever they were doing, and like she remembered she didn't tip me, and she literally, because most people be like, oh yeah, I forgot I didn't tip him, but like whatever, it doesn't matter, right? But she literally like remembered as she was driving by Red Lobster. Like it was like I bet there was a bunch of traffic, because this road is always there's a bunch of traffic in this road, and like to see it you have to turn your head and everything. So she saw it, and then she just remembered about me, and then she just literally walked in. It wasn't even about the money, it was more about the thought and like of the effort, because that just takes effort and like it takes consideration. And I was like, that's the most beautiful thing ever. Like what you give to the world will come back to you 100%. Like
Yeah,
whether it's negative or positive. 100%. You have like any stories like that?
From what I remember, not really. I mean, you're putting me on the spot. I have to think really hard about it.
It has to be something like, it has to be something that you think about, right? Like meditate on?
Yeah, because I know that usually, like, I mean, for me, myself, whatever energy I put it back into myself, it comes back to me. Obviously, you know that.
Yeah.
But with the person, no, because I don't think I've done any bad things, but I know that, you know, I try to give, like,
as much as you can.
Yeah. I remember a guy came into my dad's store. I don't think he's allowed to be there, but he said that he was hungry. And, you know, usually, like, this has happened to my brother, too, at my dad's store. Like, someone would say, oh, he's hungry or whatever.
Like, he's hungry, he doesn't have anything to eat.
Yeah, and usually my dad says, like, usually if someone, like, steals, you know, or whatever, he'd be like, this isn't your dad's house for you to steal, you know, or get whatever you want. But usually if someone is hungry, in my culture at least, you need to be like, you need to give them something, you know. That's, you can't you can't turn someone away.
Yeah.
So when my mom would say, like, give them chicken, or like give them a chips and a water, always give them a water, you know. Like, for example, if someone asks for water, that's the main thing with me. If someone asks for water, I have to give them water. Or there's a saying that when I die, it's the same thing as putting the energy back, and later on you'll receive that energy. Like, if someone asks for water, you have to give them water. Or after you die and you need water, they're not going to give you water. So it sounds crazy.
Wait, after you die, they don't give you water? Is that what you're
saying?
Like,
you won't receive water.
Or if you don't give water.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha,
so if someone asks for water, like, you should give it to them, or you won't receive it, like, when you desperately need it, or after you die. I don't know if you drink water after you die.
I don't know either.
Yeah. No one knows about that afterlife. But so what I did was, like, we gave him, like, chicken, because, you know, chicken is gonna fill you up than chips.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
Yeah, so we gave him, like, a fried
chicken tenders, like nice little chicken tenders.
Yeah. So I gave him that and water, like what my mom says. But from what I received, I don't really remember. Nothing bad has happened to me, unless it was, like, my stupid doing, I guess. I don't know.
Give chickens. No, do not give chickens, but give cooked chicken to people who are homeless or don't have anything.
Give food.
Exactly. I mean, if you give in general, like, you're going to get that energy back for sure. So I actually wanted to talk about social skills as well, because, like, earlier how we were talking about, like, everyone's distracted into, like, oh, I have to do this, and then I have to do that, and then I have to do this. I feel like a lot of men in particular, since those are that's the type of gender that experiences more loneliness, I feel like. And I've seen from statistics and everything. what do you think about like the importance of social skills in today's world?
I think social skills are really important. Like, personally, I don't think I'd be here without me being able to be social. I was pretty shy as a young child. I remember in elementary, like, my friends would, like, tease me. My
100%.
classmates would tease
They
me.
just clap you. They'd clap you. Yeah. They'd clap you.
Like, I was always okay with people from school. But when it came to, like, new people, I guess I was kind of shy, especially from what I remember. From my childhood was brown people, like people just like me. I was always shy to become friends with them and like go up to them and talk to them, like I remember their parents would be like, oh, hey, like she's there, like go talk to her. But I'd be so shy because my friends would be with the other people that I don't know. So
Gotcha.
I'd be really shy. But as I was growing up, I guess that I, like from what I remember in middle school, I was crazy, but not in a bad way. I was just loud. I was obnoxious. I'd scream, like I'd be so obnoxious. People would like see me from like a mile away, being crazy, acting crazy. And in high school, I was the same way, but it was like much better. Like people would reciprocate my craziness, And I guess that's what built the foundation of me being social. Because in high school, the friends I've had, or in middle school, I don't remember middle school as much, but the friends that I mostly made was because I spoke to them first. Like the very first day I spoke to Zyra, and I saw her in class, and then I saw her again in PE, and I just sat next to her and we were like talking. I was like, hey, I don't know anyone here, but what do you think about the school so far? And we were talking about Netflix. I remember we were talking about Netflix.
What's the next Walking Dead show you watch, like, or some fucking
something
whatever.
Like that? I don't know what we were talking about. We were talking about Netflix.
I used to love Walking Dead. Like that was like the one thing I used to just binge watch in middle school. Like people were like talking about it. It was like this hype thing, and we weren't even allowed to. Like, bro, we were like 12 years old. They're like Walking Dead, Walking Dead.
I used to watch Walking Dead with my brother, and then he stopped, so I stopped out of nowhere. Like everything that he used to do, I would do.
You would do it together.
Yeah. Like I used to watch basketball. No
way.
Yeah, Miami Heat. I was like into that. I was like, yeah, let's go LeBron James.
No way.
I was, and then it's because my brother used to watch it. We used to watch it as siblings. Like we were like this, dude.
That's
we used to watch it, and then
that's dope.
Yeah, and if someone lost, we'd be like, no, like why?
And it builds you together because it's like whenever there's like a team playing, like whoever's around, like you're like, yo, let's go.
Yeah.
It's like the best thing.
He would literally text us. He would be like, hey, the game is on. Like turn it on and watch it. And we'd watch it without him, and we'd be like texting like, hey, we're watching this,
Yeah.
So what was I saying? I was in high school.
The bond, like the social skills, like. It's extremely important.
So ever since then, after COVID hit, I was still very social.
Yeah.
At work, I was a cashier. I started off as a cashier, and my customer service was on point. Like even the managers, like everyone loved me. Like I was talking to them no matter what. Like I'd be like, hey, how's your day? I don't do that as much now in pharmacy because I'm more focused on my work than socializing because I cannot mess up. I'm in the pharmacy. Like
exactly.
I cannot.
You give someone the wrong drug, like they're.
And I've done that before, so don't be like me.
Don't be like her.
I just try to focus on my job more.
Gotcha.
But in the front, I'm just socializing. Like it's my job to keep the customer happy, and I'm not bored. So I'm like talking to people, and that's because of socializing. I was able to meet my pharmacist, and I was able to network with him. I gave him a good impression. And he was able to see that, okay, I am friendly, I am social. So the next day when I charged him again for his items, he came up to me and he's like, hey, would you like to work in the pharmacy? And that's when I was like, I immediately said yes. I was like, of course, how are you going to do this? But I was 17 at the time, so I had to wait a year.
What? All because like you're good with socializing. Like
yeah.
People, like that goes to show that you get opportunity like just because you're social. Like you talk to people, you ask people how their day is going. Like not a lot of people do that. You'd be surprised. Like I go to the Walmart. Like there was this one time I was at Walmart. I'll let you finish your story, but I was at Walmart and I was infuriated at this one guy. I didn't say anything obviously, but there was this guy. He looked like he was mad at life. He would check bags and he was like he'd look at bags and be like, oh my god. He wouldn't give you eye contact or anything. Like he would just like look like he hated his whole life. And I was like, why would anyone want to talk to you? I wanted to say hi to him, but then I was like, he had like acne all over his face. Like he looked like he just didn't take care of himself. Like he just hated his life, and he was just cynical about everything. And I was like, that's so whack. Like that's whack, man. And I feel like I was that at some point, but I wouldn't show it to the world. I'd just be like, I'll just check your bag, and I'll just be like straight face. Like you won't see a reaction out of me, unless you say something to me. I'll just be like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I'll just keep scanning bags, until I started actually just. It's like a whole. There's like a whole like story to that I can keep going towards. But finish your story about what you were talking about.
Usually, if someone acts like that I think that they don't, love themselves or see value in themselves.
Exactly.
That's why they act like that with other people.
They look at life as cynical, and they think that there's no point to life. Like it's just like the worst thing in the world. Because like I think that life is about people. And like, what's the point of watching a show if you can't talk about, like you were saying, Netflix and everything?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of watching that Netflix show if you're not gonna talk about it? Or like, what's the point of like going on a diet if you're not gonna like talk about it and like show people the progress? Obviously, it's not just about them. It's like you're gonna do it for yourself as well.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to see. Okay, I'm gonna build a podcast. Listen to my podcast. Like that's awesome. That's awesome. Or like, I'm from Nicaragua, you're from India, like, that's so dope, like, tell me about that. Like, because I'm actually from this and this and that and that and this, and I didn't know, like, Indian, like, over there, like, you do this, that, and that, and this, because I thought, like, everyone in the world did this, but, like, you guys do that, and I think that's super cool, because, like, there's so many differences, there's so many, it's just so cool, it's like a bubble that just keeps getting bigger, and it's like this network, kind of like the logo of the Bootstrap podcast. It's like a little like network, and it just keeps like, it's like network points.
Yeah, everywhere. And America has a lot of diversity, so you get to meet anyone and everyone.
100%.
Yeah, and as I was, actually socializing, as I was socializing and meeting new people, I realized, I was like, I spoke to this with my pharmacist actually. I was like, I never really realized that people are pretty cool. Like, what their jobs are pretty cool. I think I spoke with you about this before too. That, I could be a technician. You could be working at Red Lobster as a waitress. Like, the differences in pay is different. But I see someone else that I grew up with. And we went to the same middle school, and she's a mechanic. Like, it's a girl that's a mechanic. I know someone else who's like a real estate, So it's like so crazy to me that there's like different people with their own lives now.
And then they talk to you about it, and you're like, wait, hold on, like that's so weird that you go through this because I go through blank, blank, blank.
Yeah.
And like you guys just, you're like, oh my god, I wish I can feel that. And then that person is like, yo, I wish I can feel this. Like,
yes, I feel that so many
right?
times. Because I'm not gonna lie, when he told me like he was a waitress, I was like, damn, I've never been a waitress, but I want to know what it's like to be a waitress. But I don't know if I want to risk my job to be a waitress, because I don't know if I can come back, like, because that's what I want. Like, I want experience within different fields.
Exactly. And then you can get that experience through people because they articulate it to you.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. And, if you're socializing, you know more about that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Like, imagine having a group of neuroscientists as your friends. Like, you're automatically going to know about the brain. Like, there's no way in hell you're not going to know about the brain. Like,
yeah.
Like, I listened to, there was this one book that I read. So we ran into a technical difficulty, but we're coming back to it once again. So, by the way, as our time is running out, I actually kind of wanted to basically ask you like one more final question. Like, what kind of mother do you want to be when you grow up?
Wow, that's a really good question. I haven't really thought about kids. I think because of how my parents handled me, because they're very strict. But for my parents, me and my brother spoke about it once. I treat my sisters as my kids already. So I want them to be open with me and they trust me, they don't go behind my back or anything.
Tell you everything, basically.
Yeah, so
have trust.
Of course, like, I want to build a foundation for myself so I can provide for them and get them anything that they want, like my dad did for me. But thing is, I didn't just ask for anything, you know, like I was mature since a very young age. So I wouldn't ask for anything expensive, or it'd be like for small things, just like clothes, you know, to look presentable and stuff like that. And you know, I want to build a foundation for my kids and want to have a good father figure. That's very important. I want to have a good father figure for my kids, and I want them to, you know, be motivated by us. Like, I want to set a good example for them. I want them to trust me. They can tell me anything that they want. I want them to get along with my sisters. I think that's very important. And I just want them to see the beauty in life, because I see the beauty in life. Like it's so pretty outside right now.
So
you know?
What do you mean by that? I appreciate the small things.
Yeah, I appreciate the small things. Like, you know, even getting to like having food in front of you. You know, being able to taste the food. One fear that I have, and I'm so grateful for, is my hands. Because a patient had came to us in the pharmacy, and his hand was like this, stuck like this, dude. And it scared me. He's like, he needs to have surgery. And imagine like not being able to shower or eat the way you want to, or wear clothes. That scared me. And I started getting I started finding appreciation for my hands. And I told my dad about it. Like, that's my worst fear right now.
Losing your hands?
Yeah, like being like this. I don't want my fingers to be stuck like this forever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you see things when you're out there working. It's like, damn. I actually, now that you say that, like it reminds me of like when I used to write that down as like, I'm so grateful for my limbs. Like that was something I used to write down, because it's not really something really people like really appreciate in their everyday, until something happens and they're like, fuck man, I wish I had my finger.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had this, I wish I had that.
Yeah, so I want them to appreciate stuff like that. Like you said, you write about how you're grateful that you have a roof over your head. I want them to be appreciative of that too. And you know, family is a big thing to me. Like,
so how do you think they'll be like that? Like, okay, if you have a strong foundation, like, how do you think, like, if you get them what they want, like, don't you think they'll be a little bit not ungrateful, but they'll be a little bit like, not as, they don't have to earn their things as much, where you make them work for it.
You're right. I think, I mean, when they're kids, obviously they're gonna get their toys and stuff like that, right? Yeah. But as they're growing up, they would have to earn for it, and of course I'm gonna discipline them. You already know how I am with my sisters. Like I
They don't know how you are with your sisters.
If my sisters do something wrong, like, I just like be strict with them. I'd be like, hey, like, don't do that. Like, this one time I was at Holy with my friend Liz and Gian, and I invited them, you know, and I invited Josh too, but he never came. But it's fine. But my little sister, like, you're playing with powder, right? Colorful powders, different colors, and you're splashing it, like you're putting it on people. And, you know, we play with water too, like water guns and everything. And what my little sister did was she picked up the mud, wet mud from the floor, and she was going to put it on people. And I told her, I was like, yo, drop that and wash your hands. Why are you touching that? Like, that's not powder, that's mud. You know, that someone can, like, get sick from the mud. Like,
she's a mother. She's a true mother.
Yeah, like, I picked her hand up in front of Gian, because Gian paid attention.
That's
and
funny.
I was like, yo, wash your hands right now and don't do that. Don't ever do that. Like, that's very bad. You might even get sick.
Damn, you're already, like, mother in training right now.
Yeah. So when you have siblings, like, you're already a mother. Especially for a girl, you're already a mother.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so if I, like, what my mom does, I learn a lot from my mom. If I go out to a party, like, if I'm going out to a friend's party and I have kids, right? Or, like, a get-together or whatever, what I would do is I would get food for my kids. Even if, and if I'm not able to or whatever, this probably sounds so weird, but I, like, get the food instead of me eating it. I probably just put it in my bag and save it for my kids later, because that's what my mom would do.
Yeah,
you know.
I think that's normal in the Latin community as well. Like, that happens a lot. Like, people save cake for their kids, or like for the people at home, or like they'll get food and they'll put it in a container, and then, I mean, most Latin families are like, oh yeah, take it home for your family. Like, they'll be like, oh yeah, take it for whoever, and then take it for whoever, because, like, I mean, the food is there to like for people to eat. So it's like, I mean, I don't really want leftovers. Like, I kind of just want to give it. You know what I'm saying? Like, go take it to your friends. Go take it here. Go take it there. Like, Latin people are like that for sure. For sure. They're very connected with people for sure. Because back in the day, like third world countries, like they didn't have anything but just community. It's like they had more primal instincts. Like you had to survive. Like it's either fight or survive. That's just how it was. And like humans are built to like be together. So like that, this kind of like piggybacks off of like what we were saying. Like social skills are extremely important. Like in today's world, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. My culture is like that too. But in my mom's case, like, she's not very social. I think she used to be very social. But now she's all to herself, but usually that's what she would do, you know? And so we'd all like run to her because we know she brought something in her bag. So I'm the type of mom to be like that because I do that for my sisters anyways. But for my at least eldest, I want them to set a good example for the youngest. So I'd start with like healthy upbringings. Like first of all, my parents didn't put me in any classes or anything, you know, which really sucks. Like I told my dad the other day,
What do you mean classes?
Classes, like I spoke to this Indian lady. She actually tailored my clothes because I got an Indian 3-piece and I needed to adjust to my size. And so she did it for me because it's from her boutique. And we went down to Coral Springs to pick it up on a rainy night. And I went inside her house and I was like changing, you know. And she was adjusting it to my size. And we were talking and she's like, oh, like in India, they were very active. In your native country, you're like usually very active. Like they have high standards for you, you know, as a woman at least, and a man, you're supposed to provide for the family.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So she was like, her parents put her in many classes, swimming classes, sewing classes, henna classes,
I get you.
all of that,
Learning.
you know. And I'm 19. I don't know how to swim. My parents have taught me. And I can't learn. You know, I remember I have a brown friend that she also went to swimming class too. And I told my dad, like, I'm going to start putting myself in these classes. I told my dad the other day, I was like, you know, I'm going to start going to dancing classes. Like, or I wanted to do at least, like, Indian dances, you know? That
is important. Extremely important. Like, always learning. I think that's a, like, beautiful part of, like, femininity as well. Is, like, it's not, people think it's like, oh, yeah, stay at home mom and, like, do nothing. But, like, honestly, like, they have like those like skills of like, obviously it's not all the time, but like they have these skills of like, it's not high paying, but it's like a beautiful skill, like henna, what you were telling me, or like public speaking. I see some women in like Toastmasters, like they don't even, they're just like, they want to be there because like they're just like, oh yeah, I want to learn. Or like salsa classes, like there's so many women in these salsa like classrooms, like they all love salsa. They're like mainly like Latin and everything, but like people from different diversities also go. Like, a lot of them is just women. Like I'd be in the room and it was like 3 guys and like 18 women. Yeah. Like, or girls or whatever. It's like, or swimming class, like you were saying, like there's like a lot of things that you can learn like with free time because there's just so much time that you have. And I actually want to be like, I wanted to be like that too because my mom used to put me in like classes all the time. Like, oh, go do this, go do that. Like she was like that with me. Like she would put me in Taekwondo. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And like she put me in it. And I'm honestly glad she put me in it because like it gave me something to do first of all. And then second of all, it was like, it taught me discipline. Because they teach me like, no, you have to put in the work. You have to. It was like Asian people and everything. And that's the first time I encountered meditation. I literally forgot. But I remember there was this one time, they're like, imagine you're on the roof. And like they were literally telling you to meditate. And I was like, what is this? Like I didn't want to do it. I was like, but I did it because like I was like forced kind of because the instructor and everything. And I was like, what is this? But later, it's crazy how like 10 years later, I'm like doing it every single day. And it's like something that I integrated into my life. And I know that their practices is something I would probably practice in today's, in my version of like my self version today. So yeah, I think that's really important. Like as a mother, you'd be teaching your kids like, or at least putting them in classes to learn things. Like always keep them open, always keep them doing something that's not self-destructive.
Yeah, because I always wanted to like be in sports or like do crazy things. You know, I always wanted to dance, learn new things. Like recently, like I always wanted to paint. I guess I never really painted. I would draw though. And then by networking, I had a friend. I had
Look at what she made me like right now. Like Jyoti is so cool. Like she literally made this right here.
Yeah,
Like,
it was. I had
it.
fun making that.
She made that. She made that. She's like the best friend for that. 100%.
Thank you. So, yeah, I wanted to explore. I want to expand my options. You know, maybe become creative. I could make one of them like a business. Like I've been thinking for the longest doing henna as a business. I know a lot of brown people do that, but I wanted to get better at it. So I've been practicing on myself.
Yeah.
And
shout out to the brown folks.
Yeah.
I'm brown too, but like, I don't know. Do I consider myself brown? I tell myself.
He is brown.
I'm a brown boy. I'm a brown boy.
And I think brown people are superior. No offense. But yeah, I just wanted to. I told my dad like I wanted to do dancing, and he's like, "Why? Just study." He's like, "Just focus on school." And I've been hearing that since I was a young child, so that was very like unmotivating.
He wanted you to be like. He wants you to be like career woman. Is that what it is?
Yeah, like get your study first, because that's what we brought you here for, you know. And
gotcha.
they have, since I'm okay with that. I want to build something for myself, you know. But I think the way I look at it, it puts some type of ease towards my sisters, so they can do whatever they want, you know. Like my little sister, she wants to become an actor. So there's already been 2 people, or maybe 3, who, you know, I think, you know, made it seem like, oh, she won't go anywhere if she has that type of dream. One of them was my neighbor. His name is Francis. You played basketball with him, the dad.
Really? He's the one who said that?
Yeah, he was like, but she needs something realistic, you know, like she needs like a backup plan. But he's a tech.
He went the safe route because he's projecting his beliefs on her.
Yeah,
that's what us humans
and it's
do.
very hard, you know, like it's very hard to get to the top, I think. But with not our generation, I think it's pretty easy with networking. But my little sister, she has it. Look, she's beautiful, and she's like she's friendly. Like she used to be a really shy girl, but now she's friendlier.
Gotcha.
And so I think my dad too. My dad was like, "Why be an actor?" Like
it's like the best thing. I wanted to be an actor and a singer, or like be either an actor or a singer. Like
I wanted to be an actor too.
No shit, no way, bro. Because my dad actually took me to this one spot. The thing was, I think the thing is, I remember like my mom putting me in all these classes. Like I know my mom was like, for sure, like the person that would have put me into it. But like by the time my dad moved in my house and like she wasn't there anymore, what had happened was that like I remember I still wanted like to be an actor and a singer or whatever. Like I would I was obsessed with Justin Bieber, and I'd like get his CDs and everything, and I'd like sing his songs. And then there was this one time we were walking in the mall, and me and my dad, and there was like this table and there was people standing there and saying, oh yeah, you should come like do this like for the act, like you can be an actor or you can be a singer. Like Disney Channel is looking for certain people to fill spots, and I was like so excited. I was like, Dad, let's go. And I think he told me no, and so I kept on telling him like, this is what I want to do. Like I would be so glad. Like look at these kids, like they're in Disney Channel, they're doing that, they're doing this, right? And eventually we ended up going. It was in this place in West Palm Beach, and we lived in Kendall, which is like an hour and a half drive probably, I think. And as soon as we got there, I remember I was singing to the auditioner, and she started crying, and she was like so emotional, and she was like, oh my God, you're so cute, this and that. And I was like singing Baby by Justin Bieber. I remember I was like so passionate about it and everything. And then what happened was that they sat down and they talked with my dad to get headshots for pictures and start advertising my profile and everything. And then he was like, no, it's too expensive. Like it was way too expensive for him. And then like he was mad, and like I was like crying and everything, and I was like, damn, like I think that was like the one shot, or I don't even know, I was just too little to even, or too young to even understand what was going on. Maybe it was a scam, who knows? But I was like so excited, and then that like really changed my way of thinking, because I was like, damn, like in order for these people to get into Disney Channel, like they probably had to pay a lot, and like we didn't really have much.
How much was it, if you don't mind?
He didn't really tell. He never even told me, and I didn't even like. I never asked them either way. I was just like, damn, like we probably don't have enough. And I think that gave me that belief that we were probably like poor. Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from because my dad would do the same thing. That's why I think the way that I do now with money. Because my dad would always, I would want something, or he'd be like, tell me, like, he would give me an ultimatum sometimes too, with my brother. Or like, when it came to certain situations, he'd be like, I need money, baby.
Oh my God, my dad would do the same thing.
Yeah, so it got me to think like that. I'm not like this for no reason.
Yes, yeah, and that's why like I grind so hard because like, but then I look at it and I'm like, wait, hold on, like I have a house and shit, like like wait, but the belief is like, ever since you were a little kid, like your parents were like telling you these certain things that you saw evidence from, like kind of like how we were talking about earlier. And you saw evidence from like them not being able to pay certain things. So maybe it was actually because they didn't want to pay for it or whatever, but the evidence was in your brain, and then there was also the affirmation of them telling you like there's not enough. So you grew up thinking that you're poor, and maybe honestly like I don't even know how much my dad makes like that either way, but like yeah, you start growing up and you're like, bro, I think like I'm poor as fuck, like I gotta like grind, like I gotta grind.
For me, I was just like, damn. I limited myself. Me and my sisters were like, damn, we really want this, but we can't get it, Sometimes I remember I wouldn't even buy food because I was like, oh no, I have to save up because my parents might need it in the future.
Oh my God, like we were like the same person when it comes to that, for sure, for sure, 110%.
That affected me 100%. I told my dad, I was like, I'm starting to think like you, like, I was like, you made me like this.
That's like, crazy, that's cheap. Crazy. Yeah, it's just like we get that from our parents. It's crazy. Yeah. But one thing about my dad, which was weird too, but like whenever he would go to like Nicaragua, he would like give everything, and I was like, dude, hold on, like.
Same.
I'm like, wait, hold on, like, wait, I thought we were poor, and then I'd think to myself, like, why is he giving so much, bro? We don't even have that much, and he's like, because the thing is like over there, like $1 here is like $100 over there, and it's like he's like rich over there. Like when he goes over there, he's like the man. He's the man.
Thank you.
He's the man.
My dad would be the same way. He's like, everyone knows me. If I go, like, $1 over here is 80,000 rupees over there, I think, or 80,000 taka. So my dad would buy a bunch of stuff. Like there would be 1 or 2 luggages with a lot of stuff just for them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he would just be giving them out.
Coming from immigrant backgrounds, like that's dope. That's super dope. Like how we both have the same experiences, like growing up and everything.
Because I'm not gonna lie, we may be from different places,
but it's similar.
Yeah, it's similar. Like the way we live over there is similar.
Yeah.
Like how there's like street food and like like the way of living is also similar but different. Yeah, but that's crazy.
That's dope. So anyway, we were planning on making this like an hour, but obviously we're not efficient. We're more about being effective. So I think that wraps up the podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who watched and tuned in all the way to the end. If you tuned in all the way to the end, I want you to comment number 1. And I really want to see how many people comment that. But shout out to anyone who really made it to the end, and thank you for Jyoti for coming to the Bootstrap podcast.
Thanks for inviting me. I had so much fun.
It was fun, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we're out.
Thanks, guys. Bye.